It is now my pleasure to introduce our distinguished chair, Eric Garcetti. He is no stranger to any of us, and so drum roll, please, and let's give him a great big round of applause.
Thank you. Good morning, Democrats. Good morning, Democrats. It is great to be with you, and thank you, and especially to those who are standing here, standing room only. We really appreciate you being here. We will make sure, the first thing I'd like to do as chairman is make sure at our next breakfast we have more eggs. My apologies to everybody right now. We're still setting up more tables, and hopefully everybody can get breakfast. It always pays to be on time. My apologies to everybody who is not there. I want to recognize a couple people who are here. Our DMO of the year last year, the mayor of our neighboring city, St. Paul, is here. Chris Coleman, please give him a round of applause and thank him. If we can bring you the mayors of Minneapolis and St. Paul, there is peace in this world indeed. And we love having both of you here from the Twin Cities. I also want to thank our servers from Unite Here Local 25 who are serving us this morning. Let's give them a round of applause and thank them. When I took over this organization a few years ago, it was standing on the shoulders of the giants who came before me, Susan Burgess, who I'll talk about in a moment, and Joe Moore, my immediate predecessor's predecessor. But I sought to carve out for us a democratic voice in local politics and a local voice in democratic politics. That too often we saw at the local level, we forgot to be Democrats, or that folks weren't speaking up about telling the Democratic story. And sometimes, though it isn't the case now with our great Democratic Party, sometimes we are the forgotten elected officials at the local level, making things happen, but we wanted to make sure that we set out to change that. And 3 years later, look at how we have grown. Thanks to this incredible group of sponsors, thanks to a dedicated membership, we have grown from under a few hundred members to over 3,000 members of the Democratic municipal officials now. You are now members of the largest partisan group of elected officials in the country. We are the #1 organization of elected officials in terms of our numbers, but we estimate there may be 12,000 to 15,000 of us nationwide. So we need your help in reaching out and finding in neighboring towns and villages and cities those Democrats who are local elected officials, to make sure that we are communicating with them, that we are bringing folks together, and that we are winning a democratic future. We had 3 goals for this organization. 1, to highlight the talent that is out there. We are the farm team of the Democratic Party. We are the ones who are out there, and we wanted to make sure that your voices and your names and your stories were told, that the Democratic Party and that the American people knew what you were doing out there. So we have Democratic Municipal Officials of the Month and Democratic Municipal Official of the Year, showing that talent that is out there in the field. Second, though, we wanted to highlight policy, the way that local officials, local Democrats, are solving national problems through local solutions, through the innovation that you come up with that usually bubbles up. When we see national policy, it's because it started in a town or a village or a city somewhere in America where somebody tackled a problem like the environment or public safety or transportation or integrating technology in government. We are the ones who are the cutting edge of policy. And so we also seek to highlight those things that you are doing. But we also need your help. Communicate with us something that you are doing or that a colleague is doing that is changing the face of America. We've sought to do this not just with normal policy innovations, but also with national programs. For instance, the stimulus. We talked about the stimulus on Main Street. When Americans were hearing anti-democratic propaganda about how the stimulus was just a waste of money, we saw the impact in our communities, on our main streets, the way people were being put back to work, the way we were changing America's energy future, the way that we were ensuring that there are firefighters and teachers who didn't lose their jobs, and that we could continue to make sure that we drove this economy back. And you'll see shortly, but when we see the growth that we have had month after month, year after year of jobs under this president, we know that winning the Democratic future is winning the American future as well. And this is an exciting year. Are you guys feeling good about November? Yeah. Are you feeling strong about President Obama's re-election? Well, let us not take that for granted, because as much of a mess as the other side may look right now, as much as you may be throwing house parties for Rick Santorum to keep his campaign alive, we need to make sure that we not only look at the White House, but that we look at Congress, and that we look at state houses, and we look at our governors, and that we look at all of our brother and sister organizations like the DGA and the DLCC, which we as an organization every day are talking to make sure that we liaise with one another. Because as we put organizers on the ground and we look at ways that we can promote a democratic message from local voices, we know that there are coordinated campaigns to make sure that happens up and down the ballots in every single state in this union. So are you ready to help? Yeah. Are you ready to get out there and to take, by definition, you are good politicians because you won, you got elected. So you have operations, and you have people, and you have volunteers, and you have donors, and you have loved ones who are ready to help you, but they need to be asked. So are you ready to ask their help this November? Because we will win when local officials around this country come together and mobilize each of our communities. There isn't a single part of America that can't be blue when you get down in those trenches. It doesn't matter if you're up for re-election. Let's do that in the in-between times. It's good for your operations to keep that going in between, but it's better for all of us because we can see our goals done when we all mobilize together.